What is one thing we've got to see out of Malachi Branham this upcoming regular season?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs, the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for KENS 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you all back. And thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. Pick a platform. We're there. KENS 5 Plus, sure. What about YouTube? Definitely. How about Spotify? For sure. You literally go wherever you can find your favorite podcast. We will be there. What are we talking about today? We're continuing our series about one thing we got to see from fill in the blank or insert player's name. And today it is going to be Malachi Branham. We'll talk about the third-year pro. What do we need to see out of him? Could he be on the bubble? Is he a player that needs to prove some stuff? Well, we're going to dive into that and then get to your comments, Locked On Spurs fans. Look, yesterday's episode, we talked about y'all. Put y'all in the focus because y'all are leaving spicy comments. I'm going to get my guest reaction to this. Seriously, y'all are already calling for the trading of the entire team after one preseason game. Don't get it. We're going to touch base on it again. We're going to dive into some of the updated comments and other fans reacting to those hot takes. As always, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. You want to go to Game Time right now. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. So Malachi Branham's in the spotlight today, and the third-year pro, well, he's got a lot to prove. From shooting to defense to consistency, there's a lot that Malachi is going to have to do. We're limited to just to one, frankly, just because of time restraints, but you can pretty much pick a little bit of everything that he needs to develop. He is a first-round pick. He is a three-level scorer, but what more does he need to prove? I think that he's going to be on the bubble. The Spurs have some wings. They got one named Steph Castle that could possibly overtake him. But yeah, Malachi is in today's spotlight. Who's joining me today? My colleague at KENS 5, Casey Vieira. Follow him on X at Casey_Vieira. One thing about Casey is that he doesn't need any improvement. There's not one thing he needs to improve upon. He's already at that level.
Yeah. That's what I wake up in the mirror and I tell myself every day. I've hit it. I've hit the pinnacle of life. It doesn't get any better than this.
It doesn't. And if you're Casey Vieira, think about it. You got yourself a job. You got yourself a lovely wife. You got yourself a son. You got yourself a home. You're good, bud. You're good.
Is there anything else I could want in life? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think so.
I got it all. I'm on Locked On Spurs. I'm on Locked On Spurs. Is there really anything else I could ask for in life?
Well, Casey, as always, we thank you for making some time out here to join us. And I'm pretty sure you heard or seen about the series we're doing leading up to the regular season. We're picking a player from the roster and picking one thing. If you could just pick one thing. So basically, it's like this, Casey. If you're sitting in the room with him and he's sitting there face to face with you, you can say, look, Malachi, just do this one thing and you're gold. So that's kind of the idea here. And you are the guest. So why don't you kick things off for us? You get the first crack at the mic here. So what does Mr. Vieira need to see out of Mr. Branham this upcoming regular season?
Malachi Branham needs to be more consistent. We need more consistency out of Malachi Branham because we have seen flashes where he looks really, really good and someone who can be a piece of this rotation for a long time. We have seen flashes of a guy who might be out of the league in 3 years.
Yep.
We need to get somewhere in the middle here, somewhere in the middle ground. And I think the team collectively knows that as a whole, in part because they drafted Steph Castle. I think they know that, in part why they acquired Chris Paul. That one may be a little bit more of a stretch when I say that out loud. But if Malachi Branham is going to have a spot in this rotation on the regular, that's what it is. And you saw that last season. You saw that a lot last season. There was a stretch midway through the year where he was playing every night, and I think Pop shut him down for 3 straight DNPs. Yeah. It was either 3 or 4 straight. I remember it was one of those games I was watching where I mean, my job is to cover the Spurs. But when I'm not there, admittedly, sometimes I have it off to the side as white noise. I don't pay close attention. It happens, life's in the way with a little baby around. Sorry. But point being, I remember I looked at the box score when the game was done, and Malachi had played every game up to that point in the season, and I see Malachi Branham has a DNP. Okay. The next time out, Malachi Branham, DNP. The next time out, Malachi Branham, DNP.
Yep.
And then you're wondering, okay, he's a pretty genuine dude, so I don't think it's any sort of disciplinary action for attitude. He's very level-headed, modest, great, great personality, super friendly, super well media trained. So I'm like, okay, it's not that. So what is it? And I think it's consistency. I think in all likelihood there's an element of it. He's not a particularly great defender. He's not particularly a great facilitator or someone who can orchestrate an offense. So what is the role out there? And you're hoping that he can be a guy who can get corner threes, a guy who can get that mid-range going when he does make plays off the ball, and you can do that. But for the most part, that wasn't a regular thing. And if it becomes a regular thing and he does tidy those things up, and even if we see, its consistency would suggest, 50% good, 50% bad. Yeah. Even if we get that, even if collectively the organization sees that and they get that number up to 70%, what they tell them to do, 30%, that's probably a win.
Yeah.
And I think they would take that. But the pressure is on because there are other bodies on this team now that he's going to be competing with, and that really wasn't the case last year.
Yeah, namely Steph Castle. If Castle is all what he's expected to be, then Malachi could be seeing himself wearing a new uniform down the road. But you're talking about consistency, and let's take a look at the numbers here to pretty much drive home Casey's point here. So rookie season, he's over here knocking now 61% of the rim. Last season, 68%. Way to go, Malachi. Keep it up. But then we go to the mid-range game. He went from 50% his rookie season to 38% last year. From the corner three, he went 27% rookie season up to 32%. So yay. But then you look at just pretty much anywhere in the mid-range, he dropped to 38% as mentioned. So that erratic, like, what are you? Can you be consistent from one spot? Let's see it. So I think that's been the biggest knock for him. But when he was in the doghouse, you got to wonder if it was just beyond consistency, because sure, every player goes through it. Even Steph Curry's gone through it. You have one of those stretch of days where nothing's falling. You got to wonder if it was just more than that. Could have been maybe the mindset, the toughness, maybe just immaturity, because we forget these guys are still kids, man.
I am of the belief a lot of it is the Victor part of it, because I think I think that Malachi is better in the mid range than you see him from distance. And with Victor here, a lot of that mid-range stuff, or a lot of the spacing, is for some of these guys clogged up a little bit because he takes that room up. I mean, we know that it's well beyond, his game goes well beyond the mid-range, but for the most part, that focal point of this offense operates around what he does and his ability to work in that 12 to 18 foot operation, and that's clogged up a little bit. So a lot of it might even just be schematics too, and that doesn't particularly work great with Victor. We saw it with Keldon. Keldon was asked. I mean, this is a guy who, was then 5 years this time last year, was known a lot for getting to the paint and using his physicality and using that frame to get to the bucket. Those opportunities are not there anymore, or that's certainly limited. And those turned into opportunities for him to get catch and shoot threes from Victor or whoever it be, whoever it have you. That's not particularly his game, Kelvin. Yeah. And it might be the case with Malachi as well. Not particularly his game. And it goes back to what we're saying that we said last year and we said just a couple weeks ago. Everybody is still kind of on the hot seat a little bit, not entirely, a little bit, because they don't know. They have a pretty good idea, but they don't know entirely what Victor is because he's such an anomaly.
Yeah.
Such an anomaly to what it is. And if it doesn't work, then they move on.
Hey, I want to talk to you about Game Time. Go to gametime.co right now. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks. Make getting tickets easier for your favorite live events that much better. Game Time filters out the fluff, so you only get incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. Hey, Game Time has it all. They have the super deal. They got seats view before you buy. They got curated deals to make it easier to find the best price on great seats. The lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection. You will be pleasantly surprised with this app. Go get it right now. Game Time Picks. Again, that's a curation that makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater. Hey, they have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. Hey, I want to talk to you about Mudslinger's Drive-Thru Coffee. Go there right now. San Antonio, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. Open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. They have it all. Great menu. Cold drinks, hot drinks, coffee, the signature drink, Mudslinger, iced lattes. Pick something you're craving. They'll have it. Check out the menu. We're a proud local sponsor of Locked On Spurs and a proud community member serving San Antonio the best coffee in the city. Go there right now. Open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. They have the Lightning Bolt series, which includes the Alien, which is a drink made in honor of Victor Wembanyama. You got to try it. Speaking of which, hey, they have these drinks like a Lightning Bolt series. They're going to be containing Lotus Energy, that's 7 power plant extracts that gives them flexibility to create new drinks. But if you want Red Bull, you just tell them and they'll put it in there. But the default will be Lotus Energy. Go there right now, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. They even got mini donuts. Best spot in the city to get yourself some coffee. Go there right now, San Antonio. Follow them on social media at Mudslinger SATX. Go there right now because life is too short for bland coffee.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from the Cybertron Spurs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And here's the other, wrench in, I guess, maybe it's a good thing, motivation, if you will, for Malachi is he's kind of playing for a contract. It's not just a spot on the roster. It's, beyond that. It's beyond playing time. It's, money. The Spurs, the option, all that good stuff is coming up quick for him. He's going to have to show out. And, Steph Castle, I think, is going to push him in practice and preseason and really early regular season. Because one thing that Castle can do that Malachi can't do as well is defense. Malachi's he's all right, but he ain't Steph Castle level yet. We'll see. So I think that's where Castle perhaps can get a leg up on him. Who knows what the Spurs do in the upcoming draft? Do they bring in more wing players? We shall see. But for me, what I got to see out of him is actually something good, and that is his free throws. I think he's gotten very, very well at knocking down throws. So you look at the rookie season, 81% from the free throw line. Last season, he leapt to 86%. That was good for the 87th percentile among wing players in the entire NBA. And I like that. That shows me he's picking an area that he can at least get better in, more consistent. And he's doing it there at the charity stripe. That also tells me perhaps he's, also getting to the line a little bit more, being aggressive, attacking. I like that. If he could just, be consistent in that department, if I'm sitting with them saying, yeah, you're doing that well, keep it going. You're trending in the right direction. Those are easy buckets. That could be the difference in a win or a loss there if you got to go to the line. So Way to go, Malachi. And I think that's a part of his game that he's not getting a lot of shine about is he's getting better at the free throw line. Something I think I'll probably ask him that next time there's a conference with him. So for me, it's that. But overall, Casey, would you suspect that? Would you go there already and say his days in San Antonio are numbered or could be numbered?
Oh, I'm going to say could be, only because we haven't played a single game. We haven't seen him play a single game in the regular season. So I don't think it would be fair for me to say they are, in fact, numbered as concrete. But I certainly think I don't think his game right now, from what we saw this time last year, from what we saw from the end of last year, I should say, I don't think it meshes very well with Victor. I don't think what his skill set is complements Victor very well. And of course, Malachi Branham's skill set is not going to take priority over Victor Wembanyama's skill set. His touches are not going to take priority over Victor Wembanyama's.
Mm.
So, do I think his days are numbered? I don't think that'd be fair for me to say yet. But is the spotlight going to be on him for potentially a year 4 in San Antonio? I think so. I think so. I tend to lean that direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Defensively, let's look at fouls. He does play a clean game. Yeah, he's getting better at it. Yeah, he averaged about 2.5% foul percentage. That's a measurement of how often does a player foul when he's on the court. So he's gotten better at that. His steals, is left. Just the defensive numbers are a little left to be kind of like, yeesh, Malachi. 0.7 steal percentage last season. Again, that could be a Wemby effect because, but then again, you're thinking the Wemby effect could be positive as well because teams are going to, not dare to go in, and leaving them, the perimeter players like Malachi to try to defend. So there's that, it just feels like Wemby just puts people in good positions and sometimes in bad positions, leaving the perimeter defenders to step up. And so far, Malachi hasn't really done that. Casey, your thoughts?
Well, it's kind of ironic here, the more you kind of like Wesley. And when you think about right now what they're doing and how much defense is prioritized, and you're looking to essentially split hairs and figure out who's going to get more time, it's going to be Blake Wesley right now over Malachi, in my opinion, of course, because I think his skill set is better suited for what they're trying to do. I think he is a better defensive player. I think he's more athletic than Malachi. And I think there's a reasonable chance that those DNPs come back in favor of Blake Wesley in the rotation. I could be wrong because, again, with Wesley last year, there's just as much a level of inconsistency as well. But you look at how they pair things a little bit. Malachi, at the end of the day, is probably more of a 2. I think Blake Wesley, because of his defensive ability, you can pair him better with Steph Castle out there. As 2 guys interchangeably, we want to put Steph at the 1 and Blake Wesley as the 2, or vice versa, because their defensive abilities. I think that's a better mix and match than what Malachi does, just based off that versatility a little more. But again, consistency, because consistency will be the big deciding factor, in my opinion. And really, both the 2 of them, Blake and Malachi, because Malachi didn't prove him. If he did prove himself as the true rotational guy, this wouldn't be a conversation right now, and he didn't. But the way it is right now, the way I see it right now, that will be what potentially separates the 2.
Hey, I want to talk to you about FanDuel. You want to go to FanDuel.com right now. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So much when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You just got to go to FanDuel.com right now. Speaking of FanDuel.com, look, the NBA season is also around the corner. Spurs fans, time to have some fun with your silver and black on the court. The app is very easy to get, very easy to use, user-friendly, very intuitive. Make your picks, 1, 2, 3. Bet on parlays, bet on win spreads, totals. I mean, seriously, you can have so much fun with sports this sports season with FanDuel. Again, America's #1 sports book. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Another reason why you got to go to FanDuel when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Go to FanDuel.com right now, America's #1 sports book. Yeah, and Spurs, they got plenty of wings to look through, from Blake to Malachi to Castle. City Sissoko's in there as well. Then of course there's Devin. So there's a possibility that when push comes to shove, and they got to tighten that roster, Malachi could be an odd man out. Look, Spurs, Popovich proof they'll bench him for an extended period of time. Could they do it again? Yeah, they could. He's only what is he, like 21? Still a kid,
Yeah.
21 years old. That's it. But look, he's saying the right things. One of the first practices they had, he came in with the right mindset. He looked decent in preseason game number 1, really attacking the rim. So yay, there's that. But again, that's just one preseason game. We'll see how that pans out, and leans back to what you said, Casey. Consistency. Consistency is number 1 for you. For me is keep on doing something right, and that is you're trending in the right direction at the free throw line. That's good. Like to see that. Hey, that is one thing we got to see out of Malachi Branham. What do you think? You let Casey know on X at Casey_Vieira. Let me know on X as well, Jeff G Spurs Zone. And follow us on the YouTube page at Locked On Spurs. Well over 5,000 subscribers, so I'm pretty happy about that. Let's keep it going. Now it's time to talk about you guys, Locked On Spurs fans. So, Casey, let me give you a quick brief about what happened in yesterday's show. So, myself and James Pledger, San Antonio Sports Story's very own, we're looking at some of the Locked On Spurs fan comments, and we're like, what is going on here? I'm not kidding, Casey. After one preseason game, fans are leaving comments saying, gut the team already. Gut the team. I'll read you one that we read yesterday, so I can find it here for you. Here it is. Johnson, Vassell, Collins, Sohan, Trey, all bum ass trade. Trade them. Trash players. Here's another one.
Bell didn't even play.
Here's a. We need to trade Keldon and Vassell for Franz Wagner. Seriously, they're just. I don't know what got into Locked On Spurs fans. I don't know if this is just me getting goofed on here, but it sounds like they're serious, Casey. So before we dive into a fresh set of comments, what do you think about these last comments?
Well, there's not a snowball's chance that the Magic are going to trade Franz Wagner for that. That's my immediate knee-jerk reaction. My second knee-jerk reaction is, man, they played that preseason game without Victor and Chris Paul. What if, well, ironically enough, against the Magic tonight, or at the time of this recording, I should say, what if things go wrong again with Victor and all these guys? What's going to happen at that point?
Yeah. So spicy comments left by Locked On Spurs fans. Let's check if they've chilled out. Maybe it was an anomaly. Maybe it was just 6 months away from the court, and Spurs fans are just eager to get the conversation going. So here we go. Let me look through here. Here's one. So this is reaction from the one thing we need to see out of Blake Wesley series episode. This is from Life of Holy. Says, we should have kept Devontae instead of him, Blake Wesley. He was snapping in the summer league, but I don't know what happened. So after one preseason game, should have kept Devontae Graham. Casey, your thoughts?
You don't bail on a 21-year-old kid, or
exactly
for a 21-year-old kid for a guy. No disrespect to Devontae Graham, but we have a pretty good idea what he is right now.
Yeah, it's a hired gun. That's it.
Yeah,
Just a hired
yeah.
gun. Yeah, but you got to let these guys cook. That's what I said yesterday in Lockdown Spurs. Say let these guys cook together. It's just preseason. That's all it is. No need to freak out here over one game. I think Blake Wesley, just like Malachi, consistency is up there too. Learning to play with different levels of pace, and he's also in a contract kind of situation there with the Spurs as well. So Blake is a promising future, whether it's with the Spurs or elsewhere. But yeah, give these guys time to cook. Let Blake Wesley be Blake Wesley. They're probably going to give him a lot more minutes. We'll see how that pans out. All right, finally, a little bit more rational comment here, Casey. This is from at David Z5J3X. He wants to know, is Wimby working on a go-to post move like a jump hook? His style and body type reminds me a lot of Ralph Sampson. He never reached his full potential because he didn't develop one to go. See, he cut off there to go more than one go-to move that took advantage of his superior physical skills. So, do you think Wemby needs a go-to move, or is his go-to move anything that he does on the court? Pretty much, like, okay, that's your go-to move. A jump shot, perfect. Mid-range, perfect. Dunking on somebody, perfect. I think he can have multiple go-to moves, Casey.
Yeah, well, I agree with that, and it appears that the go-to move that's being prioritized right now, based out of what we're hearing from camp, is that pull-up one-legged three. That appears to be the go-to of the go-to moves, but I think the bag is going to be a little bit more versatile than just one singular move for me.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
That'll be the case.
No, I think if he were to develop a go-to move and it is the hook shot, that's just devastating. That's just devastating. Think about where
I think the move is better suited, probably easy for me to say. I'm hardly 6 foot, but would be that post fade, because directly up against 7-footers, they can get a piece of that.
Mm-hmm.
That post fade, there are not many 7-footers in this league that can play that athletically.
Mm-hmm. But
thinking about it, just thinking about it out loud.
A go-to move like a hook shot, though, would be devastating because who's going to block that? Nobody. Gobert can't jump.
Not in particular. I think there's a better chance a post move gets blocked by a 7-footer than a turnaround fade from a 7'4" guy.
Oh, if he could, kind of a Dirk-esque turnaround fade jump shot.
Well, I think that's what we saw more of last year. That looks certainly more closer to a go-to than a hook.
Right.
From what we saw last year, if we're going to talk about what the go-to is, the quicker route to a go-to is, from what we saw last year, was that, as opposed to the hook. I mean, if he develops a hook, which is a possibility, because who even knows with this dude anymore? Yeah, definitely. But I think the quicker route to a go-to is going to be that post fade.
Oh, for sure, yeah, and it's almost kind of like a a hook shot, because you're fading away and you're with his height. He's leaping in the air, but back, it's almost going to be tough for anybody to defend. No, but you're going to have to really either body him up, get into space, and that's probably your best bet. Because if you give him some space, he's going to take you off the dribble. If you give him a lot of space, he's going to pull up for a shot or a 3-shot. You get trapped underneath the paint, well then, good night. You might as well just start going back to the other end of the court. So, but if you can add that other weapon, I'd love to see how that develops. I think that's going to be it, as you mentioned, that fadeaway post shot. But we appreciate you leaving these comments here. See, a little bit saner today. It wasn't as crazy as yesterday. I mean, that was just the tip of the iceberg. Casey,
a little more
Spurs
civil.
fans popping off. Yeah,
we'll see what happens after preseason game too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, see, I'm trying to look for another one here. Here's another one. See, after Wimmer, this is after one preseason game. Sohan sucks.
I'm glad to see the takes. I'm glad to see the takes have diverted from last year.
Right. That was from Blake Eats 1988. Yeah, I mean, there's more to it. He says Wemby's going to eat CP3 with them dimes, and he finishes it off by saying Sohan sucks after one preseason game. So Spurs fans are already on one already. Didn't take that long.
Glad to see Sohan is still polarizing. In case you were wondering if that was gonna change.
Yeah, that ain't changing. I'm not there yet, but it's getting close to death, taxes, and Spurs fans hating on Sohan for some odd reason. I think he's gonna have a good season. I think he really is. I think no more point guard. I think that really messed him up. They brought in guard, so yay, you have to worry about even backing up a Chris Paul. That's where you got Trey Jones and Castle, and if need be, Blake Wesley. So he's gonna be fine. But he is Casey Vieira, my colleague at Ken's 5. I know with Spurs season kicking off soon, the regular season that is, you're going to be a busy guy with NFL. And I think MLB is in playoff mode, right?
Yeah, but all of our teams are done. So,
right along. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure to go ahead.
No. I got nothing. Do your close.
All right. Well, we got to close it out here because Casey's got to go. He's a busy man, and I do too. Got a game to catch. So make sure to follow Casey on X at Casey_Vieira. Follow me at the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. Just go on YouTube, search Locked On Spurs. We appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow with more silver and black coverage as the preseason continues, as we march to the regular season home opener, or just the opener on the road. But yeah, it's going to be fun no matter what. So for Casey Vieira, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock in this episode of Locked On Spurs.